Good morning. Welcome to the 62nd Annual Deborah Morton Convocation Ceremony. My name is Fran Girard, and I represent the University of New England Board of Trustees. On behalf of the entire board, I would like to welcome the women we will be honoring today, their friends and family members, our former Deborah Morton Society Award recipients, university alumni in attendance, members of the UNE faculty and professional staff, UNE senior leaders and trustees, and UNE President James Herbert. Thank you for gathering to help us induct our 2024 Deborah Morton Society awardees. Two women who will today join the company of important Maine women leaders, previously inducted into this prestigious society. This year's honorees are Andrea Cianchette Maker and Trish Riley. Please join me in welcoming them. Each of these women, in the spirit of Deborah Morton, has made a lasting impact on the state of Maine and its people. Each has achieved high distinction in her field and is an exceptional leader. And each has inspired countless others to be the best they can be. We are grateful for their contributions to Maine and its communities, and you will hear much more about them shortly. But first, it's my pleasure to introduce UNE Vice President of Institutional Advancement, Alicia Faraday.
Thank you, Fran. You can all sit. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to participate in this campus's time-honored tradition of celebrating the accomplishments and character of exceptional Maine women leaders through the annual Deborah Morton Award. As Fran mentioned, it is my privilege to serve among the latest generation of women leaders on this campus. Together, we strive to be role models for the young women UNE educates today. And we are intentional about emphasizing our ongoing commitment to the traditions and values upon which UNE and its forebear institutions were founded. This event exemplifies UNE's appreciation for its roots and continuity as it evolves. Gathering like this to celebrate our newest Deborah Morton Society awardees allows us to reflect on the remarkable contributions of our state's women leaders through the years. And it ensures that our proud Westbrook lineage remains central to our work as new generations of women come to UNE to gain skills and knowledge and to play leadership roles in Maine and points far beyond. Accordingly, I'd like to say a few words to focus our attention on the former Westbrook student and later faculty member after whom this award is named. Deborah Morton was an unparalleled female leader, and her legacy resonates across this campus and through Maine to this day. At a time when the social expectations for women were very different than they are now, Ms. Morton was a scholar, leader, reformer, mentor, teacher, and adventurer. She traveled the world and brought back knowledge and experiences to share with others, including her curious and appreciative students at Westbrook College. Deborah first joined this campus in the fall of 1876 when she entered Westbrook Seminary. 3 years later, she graduated as valedictorian of her class in 1879. She spent the next few years teaching in her hometown of Round Pond, Maine, after returning to Westbrook as a member of the faculty, or before returning to Westbrook as a member of the faculty in 1884. She taught grammar, rhetoric, French, and algebra, demonstrating a remarkable command of a multitude of subjects, just as today's UNE students do, as they receive a background in the liberal arts coupled with expertise in their chosen fields. The very next year, in 1885, Ms. Morton was named Westbrook College's preceptress. Over the 3 decades to follow, she spent the school year shaping young women's lives and then spent her summers overseas, exploring Europe and the Middle East while refining her foreign language skills, much in the way many young women of UNE today do in their study abroad excursions through global education on our campuses. In 1917, with the pandemic and World War looming, Ms. Morton took a leave of absence from teaching to more fully engage in civic life, serving as president of the Women's Literary Union and an active member of the YWCA War Council. Eventually, she returned to Westbrook to resume teaching French in the 1940s. After her retirement, the Deborah Morton Award was established in 1961 to recognize women who have previously distinguished themselves through their work, public service, and leadership in civic, cultural, and social causes. The example set by Deborah Morton provides keen insight and seems so very relevant to our lives today. In our dynamic, polarized world, we must keep learning. We must continue to grow, and we must engage in new experiences that change our assumptions and biases, just as today's UNE students do, through our many campus events designed to immerse them in the marketplace of ideas. The University of New England is incredibly proud to have inspirational leaders like Deborah Morton in its institutional history. And we continue each year with the tradition of celebrating Maine's women leaders in her honor. At this time, I would like to welcome to the podium Gilda Nardone, a Westbrook College graduate herself and the chair of the Deborah Morton Society Steering Committee.
Thank you, Alicia, and good morning, everyone. Indeed, Deborah Morton was an inspiration to her classmates, students, colleagues, and the women of Maine. And it is a great privilege for my fellow steering committee members and me to play the role we do in facilitating each year's convocation. As we narrow down the list of prospective awardees each year, we're amazed by the wealth of women leaders spread across our state, all doing incredible work to improve the lives of their fellow citizens and their communities. I have to think Deborah Morton would be proud of the movement she helped to create. And I'm proud of the fact that we continue to help the young women of today fulfill their education and professional dreams through the Deborah Morton Endowed Scholarship at UNE. Since its establishment in 1974, this fund has provided more than 80 women with critical financial aid so they can pursue degrees at the University of New England. The scholarship, which is awarded to 2 students who come to UNE from Maine high schools, follows them throughout their 4 years of undergraduate study. They may major in any of UNE's programs such as applied exercise science, athletic training, dental hygiene, occupational studies, nursing, nutrition, pre-pharmacy, social work, and public health. These are essential fields to the health of Maine and its people, and the women who gain mastery of them during their time here emerge ready to do their part. I am grateful that we can play the role we do in helping them along their way. When we invest in the next generation of women leaders, we all benefit, in the present and through their careers. It is now my pleasure to yield the podium to someone who has been a true champion of women's causes and women's leadership during his time at the University of New England, and someone who always keeps the best interests of UNE's students at the top of his mind and close to his heart. Please join me in welcoming the President of the University of New England, Dr. James Herbert.
Thank you so much, Gilda, and hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, and thanks as well to Alicia and to Fran. There she is, Fran, for your offering such thoughtful remarks this morning. So it's nice to see everyone here, to see some old friends and some new faces as well. This marks the 62nd year that the stewards of this campus have gathered to remember Miss Morton and to celebrate Maine's women's heroes. And I suspect that 62 years from now, people will still be gathering and to celebrate this society's namesake and the women who carry on in her tradition. As Gilda mentioned, we're very fortunate to have so many accomplished women leaders here in Maine. and the work of pouring through their credentials to identify the most deserving amongst them for this award is no small job. As such, I'd like to begin by thanking the members of the Deborah Morton Society Steering Committee. These individuals spend countless hours each year reviewing the accomplishments of and ultimately nominating awardees who fulfill the exacting standards set by the Society's guidelines. At this time, I'd like to recognize them. They are Kim Block, Nancy Grant, Elizabeth McClellan, Gilda Nardone, Dean Patterson, and Cindy Taylor. So, friends, would you please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you very, very much for your ongoing support of the Society and for your support of UNE more broadly. We're so grateful to all of these women, but I would be remiss if I didn't offer a special acknowledgement of one individual who has truly gone above and beyond the ordinary call of duty over the past several years in service of the Deborah Morton Society, and that is Gilda Nardone. Gilda has been a member of the steering committee since 2017, the year that I arrived at UNE, and she completes her term as chair this year. Please join me in offering one more round of applause for the one and only Gilda Nardone. Thank you, Gilda. Through the years, the Deborah Morton Society has honored more than 200 Maine women, and many of these past honorees are present today to help us welcome this year's inductees. At this time, would all members of the Deborah Morton Society please rise to be recognized? Thank you all for joining us today. I'd also like to take a moment to reflect on those members of the Deborah Morton Society who have passed away since our last gathering. Among the friends we've lost is Maddie Corson, who brought so much joy and light to our community, as well as in her interactions with Portland's nonprofit community. We will absolutely miss her, and we will also miss Joyce Kelly Butler, Patricia Collins, Lucy Ann Poulin, and Lois Gagley-Retkin, all of whom left their special marks in our community and in our hearts. Please join me in observing a moment of silence to reflect on their lives and to acknowledge their absence. Thank you. There are so many aspects of UNE that make me feel a special mixture of pride and gratitude, and I know that so many of others attending this morning feel the same when reflecting on our amazing university. And one of those aspects is UNE's commitment to nurturing women leaders. The impact of this commitment can be felt in multiple ways. In our Maine hospitals and clinics, where our graduates make us the #1 provider of healthcare professionals for the state. In the Gulf of Maine, where our students and graduates play leadership roles in assessing and mitigating the effects of climate change. And in our P.D. Merrill makerspace, where our student innovators develop the skills and aptitudes to be successful inventors and entrepreneurs. And indeed, throughout the Maine economy, which receives a steady influx of UNE graduates, especially prepared to meet the needs of today's dynamic workforce. At UNE, we go to great lengths to ensure the transformational education we provide young people is accessible to all qualified Maine students. That includes students from diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds, as well as students from families whose family members haven't previously pursued college degrees. As a first-generation college student myself, I know how important it is that we make a higher education available to students for whom a degree might otherwise be out of reach. Our message to them is that we are an inclusive and supportive community, and if they're hungry to learn and grow, we have a home for them right here at UNE. This commitment to inclusivity has deep historic roots, reaching all the way back to when Westbrook Seminary first opened its campus right here in 1831 and begun admitting women. Later, Westbrook College took up the mantle of educating and empowering women on these very grounds. During times when American society tried to limit what women could do, the women who filled the halls of this campus refused to follow the script. They studied hard, and they flourished. The women of Westbrook blazed paths for today's uni students to follow, and we're so proud that today's students experience the transformational educational journey they enjoyed on this beautiful campus where the historic look and feel of the Westbrook landscape remain. At the same time, today's campus provides students with access to the latest technology, equipment, and other infrastructure related to their fields of study. The new building being constructed just right behind us represents our latest investment in the campus's facilities, an investment that ensures it and the student it educates will thrive for decades to come. The Harold and Bibi Alphons Center for Health Sciences will allow for the relocation of our College of Osteopathic Medicine from Biddeford, creating an integrated health sciences campus here in Portland that is unique in all of New England. Uniting our health professions programs, all of them on a single footprint right here, will create additional opportunities for students to learn and to work in teams, a practice known as interprofessional education. This practice has been shown to produce improved outcomes for patients, improved patient satisfaction, decreased medical errors, and decreased provider burnout. At the same time, the relocation of our medical students will free up space for new and expanded undergraduate programming on our Biddeford campus. For example, we recently launched a new College of Business, and this fall, we will welcome the first crop of students, many of whom are young women, to our new UNE Honors College. It is our great pleasure to make such exceptional opportunities available to our students. I hope Deborah Morton would be proud of the multifaceted, multi-campus institution that her alma mater has become. So at this time, I'd like to turn our attention to the two truly remarkable women who we've gathered to honor today. Both have made tremendous impacts on Maine and are going to make wonderful additions to the Deborah Morton Society. I've asked members of the Board of Trustees to insist in announcing our honorees. Fran Girard, I invite you back up to the podium to announce the first honoree.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the University of New England, it is my pleasure to present 2024 Deborah Morton Award recipient, Andrea Cianchette Maker.
So I just want to warn everyone, I have special permission from Andrea to pronounce her name in the original Italian. So, don't I? Right? Okay. Andrea Cianchette Maker is the co-founder and co-chair of Focus Maine, and since 2023, she has also served as its president. Guided by a board of private sector leaders, Focus Maine is on a mission to transform Maine's economy. This impactful organization coordinates and sponsors a synergistic set of programs delivered by high-impact organizations to strengthen Maine's food economy, bioeconomy, build workforce skills for those sectors, and increase interest in pursuing careers right here in Maine. This work catalyzes jobs by strengthening businesses and their needed workforce, and increases revenues by displacing imports and expanding markets beyond Maine. Prior to becoming president of Focus Maine, Andrea chaired the government relations practice at Pierce Atwood, one of Maine's premier law firms. There, she distinguished herself as a visionary leader known for her ability to conceptualize and advance agendas to drive growth for individuals, organizations, and industries across the Maine economy. In recognition of her prominence in Maine, Andrea has held numerous board, committee, and chair positions through the years. For example, she is a former board member of Maine Public, the Maine Community Foundation, and the Susan L. Curtis Foundation. She was a founding member of the Maine Coalition for Excellence in Education, which was the precursor to Educate Maine, the startup manager of Project Login, and served on the Commission on Maine's Future and the Commission on the Future of Maine's Paper Industry. In these positions and others, Andrea has applied her strategic thinking, civic-minded leadership, and keen vision to make positive changes across the state of Maine. Andrea has been honored with the Crystal Heart Award by the American Heart Association, named one of 4 women to watch by Maine Biz, and featured in Maine Magazine's prestigious 50 Mainers list. And today, it is our great pleasure to honor her with induction into the Deborah Morton Society. Please join me in welcoming Andrea Cianchette Maker. I couldn't help myself. Here's your remarks.
Good morning. Thank you. President Herbert, board, faculty, staff of the University of New England, and members of the Deborah Morton Society Committee, thank you for this honor. Thank you to my family, including my mom, who's here today, and my friends and my colleagues who are here today and who support me every day. Congratulations, Trish. I've admired your work for years, and I'm really pleased to share this moment with you. It's such an honor to be joining this society's long list of women change angels. Our collective lives, Mainers' collective lives, are better because of each one of them. And it's my great pleasure to be standing here today, just finishing my first year as full-time president of Focus Maine, which I envisioned and then co-founded with my colleague Mike Dubiak 10 years ago. I also want to note that John Fitzsimmons is in the audience, and he was part of our thought partnership at the beginning and still serves on our leadership team. Focus Maine embodies my vision of a thriving Maine economy. As we in Maine have done many times before, we're again redefining our economy to create new opportunities for Maine families to prosper. That's the mission of Focus Maine. Focus Maine is helping to transform Maine's economy by catalyzing growth and focusing innovation, as President Herbert said, in the food sector, building on our heritage industries of agriculture and aquaculture, and the emerging bioscience or life sciences sector, building on our proximity to this global hub in Boston, as well as our own academic and research institutions. You heard a little bit about what's going on behind me here, and our Yankee ingenuity. To date, Focus Maine has catalyzed nearly 500 new jobs and an additional $175 million in revenue in the companies that have participated in our programs, which has created another roughly 500 spin-off jobs. Over the next 5 to 6 years, I see a lot more progress happening in these sectors. So I want to share with you what I see from my vision. Let's jump ahead to 2030, a mere, 6.5 years ahead. So here's what I see. I see entrepreneurs creating new food products in record time, supported by a mature regional support system of incubators, accelerators, mentorships, and access to capital, all the ingredients needed for them to thrive. I see coming from that a robust roster of iconic Maine food companies selling a range of foods from the land and from our sea, who top the list of preferred suppliers for major restaurants and national retailers. We're seeing that starting to happen now. In 2030, I also see a robust population of life scientists engaging in research and development of products that advance health and healthcare, resiliency and sustainability, some of which are made from Maine's natural resources. And Maine's many research facilities are collaborating, sharing knowledge and resources, along with a private sector incubator or two. The ecosystem that then fosters further development and commercialization of these scientific discoveries. And life science manufacturers have located some of their production in Maine. And proudly, Maine is a hub for top talent. Young professionals who grew up in Maine and who chose to move to Maine, living and thriving under their motto, Maine, the way life is. Mainers are clear about their future opportunities and proud of their entrepreneurship, innovation, and production, and the role that they're playing in the larger world economy. I am grateful every day to be able to do this work alongside like-minded people who share this vision and who are on this journey and who will help to make it a reality. So I'll close with my motto, let's go, Maine. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Such great stuff going on at Focus Maine, so I love it. Thank you so much, Andrea. And now I call upon UNE trustee Stephen Shannon to present our second Deborah Morton Awardee candidate. Steve?
Yep. On behalf of the trustees, Board of Trustees of the University of New England, it's my pleasure to present the 2024 Deborah Morton Award recipient, Trish Riley. Trish?
Trish Riley is President Emerita of the nonprofit National Academy for State Health Policy. This nonpartisan organization, which has offices here in Portland and in Washington, D.C., is committed to developing and advancing state health policy innovations and solutions. It supports state leaders by providing technical assistance, publishing and disseminating research and analysis, sharing best practices, and advancing new health policy ideas across the executive and legislative branches of government. Trish served as CEO of this organization, so that's so critical to the health of Maine's people from its founding in 1988 until 2003, and returned as CEO in 2014 before retiring in 2020. She has also held appointed positions under 5 Maine governors, directing the Office on Aging, Medicaid, and state health agencies. From 2003 to 2011, she served as director of the Governor's Office on Health Policy and Finance, where she was the principal architect of Dirigo Health Reform. She also served as Maine's liaison to the federal government and Congress during deliberations around national health care reform. Nothing controversial there, right? No. In addition, she chaired the Governor's Steering Committee to develop a plan to implement the Affordable Care Act right here in Maine. Trish's impact has extended into the realm of higher education as well. She has served as a distinguished senior fellow in state health policy at George Washington University and has taught at the University of Southern Maine's Muskie School of Public Service. Nationally, Trish has served as a member of the Kaiser Commission on Medicaid and the Uninsured, the Medicaid and CHIP Payment and Access Commission, the Health Services Committee of the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, and the Federal Council on Aging. Whew. Wow. In Maine, Trish has served on numerous boards and commissions, including the Maine Community Foundation, the Maine Humanities Council, the Maine Commission on Governmental Ethics, the Maine Health Access Foundation, and the Mitchell Scholarship Research Institute. Trish is an alumna of the University of Maine, to which she returned while working full-time to earn an MS in Community Development. She has chaired the university's Board of Visitors and the Alumni Association and has served on the board of the University of Maine Foundation. She presently chairs the University of Maine Systems Board of Trustees. For all that she has done for the people of Maine and for all that she continues to do, we are very proud to welcome Trish into the Deborah Morton Society. Please join me in honoring Trish Riley. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, President Herbert, trustees, Deborah Morton Society, and good friends. I'm delighted and honored to be here with Andrea, whose career I've also admired through the years. Maine is a great place where everybody crosses each other, and to honor the legacy of Deborah Morton. As a first-generation student able to attend the University of Maine, thanks to a scholarship, I studied English and fresh out of school, I landed a job with the Governor's Committee on Aging, establishing a lifelong pattern of unplanned career choices. I traveled the state, meeting older people at their kitchen tables, hearing about the poverty and poor health that befell too many once hardworking Mainers. One committee member, Margaret Jones, a Westbrook alum, and induced into this society in 1963, was a distinguished civic leader. She was distinguished. She had crisp diction. She had a steel-eyed focus on issues. She was a widow who didn't drive. A uniformed chauffeur drove her to meetings. To my young eyes, she was old and extraordinarily intimidating. But in her, I found a mentor and friend who, hearing my stories, curtly asked, "Well, what do you propose we do about it?" That sparked work mobilizing the end to mandatory retirement, the first state in the nation to do so, establish legal services for the elderly, create home care, programs that are still making a difference today. And it launched my career in health policy and the leap from public service to build a business to help all states provide affordable quality health care to all. And by the way, Margaret Jones earned her driver's license somewhere between 65 and 70, a real role model. During my career, those in public service worked in a spirit of civility and respect, valuing the ability to compromise to solve problems together. In today's public square, people go to their corners, unwilling to cede any ground or even agree on the facts. Polarization has too often replaced partnership, even as increasingly complex issues demand collaborative solutions. What might Deborah Morton advise about this present-day conundrum? A woman whose curiosity knew no bounds as she traveled the world in those days, imagine that, whose devotion to learning was lifelong, might ask us to look anew at the critical role higher education plays in our society, a role under siege by diminished public support for its value and by intervention from political voices questioning its mission and teachings. These trends, of course, worry me as a University of Maine system trustee, but they belie what I witness on our campuses every day, where students make incredible sacrifices for education that they clearly value. Yet across the nation, many universities are under assault, and in response turn inward, change administrators, defend higher education by arguing its return on investment. College graduates meet our workforce needs and earn more than those without degrees. But ROI is so much more than earning power. I worry that we're going to become too focused on that initiative. To address polarization and the challenges in our culture requires well-educated people with the ability to listen, ask questions, think critically, and respect differences. And as higher education changes to meet new realities, the case for comprehensive education, including arts, humanities, and social sciences, becomes so important. Equipping students not just for their next job, but for a future that demands engaged people ready to sustain foundations of democracy and the opportunities it brings. The Deborah Morton Award and joining forces with this extraordinary group of women is a great honor. But it is as well, I think, a call for action for the work that lies ahead with common purpose for the common good. Appropriately, the Society's motto, if my Latin will serve me from way back, work conquers all, reminds us we have work yet to do to fulfill Deborah Morton's legacy. And I very much look forward to working with all of you in hoping that we succeed in doing so. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Trish. And so one of the things I frequently do is talk about the value proposition of higher education. And as you were reading, I thought perhaps I'd mixed up your remarks with mine, because I couldn't have said it better, and I agree with every word you said. And in fact, I think I want to take you on the road with me as we go around making that case, because you're absolutely right in all respects about the value proposition of higher education, which is very much under attack these days, unfortunately. Awardees, on behalf of the UNE Board of Trustees and the Deborah Morton Society Steering Committee, please accept my most sincere congratulations into the Deborah Morton Society. Today's ceremony has been, as it always is, an important reminder of the incredible talent and power embodied by Maine's women. We are lucky to have so many women like you, Andrea and Trish, working for the people of our state. Thank you for all that you do. Once again. And I hope that all of you in the audience will stay with us for the luncheon, which will begin in the back of the room. And just please stay and enjoy a nice luncheon and visit and mingle and talk to new friends and old friends. And just thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today at the Deborah Morton Society. Thank you. You don't have to process all.